Have you ever wondered why some people always seem to find the silver lining, no matter how dark the storm around them? Why some can smile through failure, face chaos with calm, and still see opportunities where everyone else sees disaster? What is their secret? And why does it feel like 99% of the world completely misses it? The truth is, most of us are walking through life wearing blinders, blinders that only let us see the struggles, the mistakes, and the things that go wrong. But what if I told you that your mind has the power to see the good, even in situations that seem impossible? And even more, what if learning this skill could completely transform your life, your relationships, and your sense of inner peace? Right now, many people are trapped in a cycle they don't even realize exists. Every morning, they wake up, scroll through endless bad news, worry about what's lacking in their lives, and carry a heavy weight of comparison and fear. Their brains have been trained to focus on what's wrong because evolution wired us to spot danger. That's why we remember failures more than wins, threats more than chances, and criticism more than compliments. It's not your fault. Your mind is simply working the way it was designed, to protect you. But protection can easily become a prison, and when the mind constantly scans for negatives, it begins to interpret life itself as negative. That's why so many feel stuck, anxious, or unfulfilled even when nothing seems objectively bad in their lives. But here's the incredible part. The mind is also a muscle, and just like your body, it can be trained. The same way someone lifts weights to strengthen their arms, you can train your thoughts to strengthen your ability to see good. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending life is perfect. It means deliberately choosing where you focus your attention. It means retraining the way your brain reacts to challenges, setbacks, and uncertainty. This is a skill that 99% of people never learn. Most live their entire lives at the mercy of circumstance, reacting to whatever life throws at them. But the 1%? They know how to consciously look for the hidden good, and that changes everything. Imagine waking up tomorrow and, instead of immediately worrying about bills, deadlines, or conflicts, you notice something beautiful in the smallest things. A kind word from a stranger, a moment of laughter, a sunrise spilling light across your window. That shift doesn't just make you feel better, it rewires your brain over time. Your mind starts scanning for positive details automatically. Opportunities start appearing where there were only obstacles before. And here's the reward for those who commit to watching this video till the end. By the time you finish, you will have learned a simple yet powerful mindset technique that can instantly shift the way you perceive challenges, and you'll discover a method that the majority of people will never know. A method that gives you the ability to see good in any situation, no matter how bleak it may seem. The first step is awareness. Most people live on autopilot. Thoughts come, emotions rise, and reactions happen without any conscious choice. But awareness interrupts that autopilot. It lets you pause and ask a critical question. Am I seeing this situation as it is? Or am I seeing it the way my fear, doubt, or past experiences are making me see it? That simple question is a turning point. It is the doorway to training your mind. Because as soon as you recognize the way your mind automatically leans toward negativity, you gain the power to shift it. And this isn't just motivational fluff. It's rooted in how the human brain works. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on repeated practice, proves that thoughts are not static. You can literally train your mind to focus on what's good, what's constructive, and what empowers you, even in moments that feel impossible. But here's the catch. Most people resist this. Why? Because it feels unnatural at first. It's easier to complain, to blame, to feel frustration and fear. Negativity is comfortable. It's familiar. Gratitude, optimism, and perspective take effort. But that effort is what separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. Every time you choose to pause, to notice the good, to reframe a difficult situation, You are strengthening your mental muscles. You are rewiring your brain to naturally seek positivity, solutions, and growth. And the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. Eventually, it isn't just a practice. It is a way of life. By the end of this journey, you won't need someone to remind you to see the good. Your mind will instinctively find it. Challenges will no longer feel like walls. They will feel like puzzles to solve, lessons to learn, and opportunities to grow. Life will not necessarily become easier, but your experience of it will transform. You will realize that happiness isn't about perfect circumstances. It's about mastering your mind to see the light even in darkness. And that is a power almost no one understands, a power that can change your destiny. So, stay with this video. Listen carefully. Open your mind to a practice that might feel strange at first, but has the potential to completely shift your reality. Because by the end, you will have the tools to train your mind to see the good in any situation, something 99% of people will never experience. And once you start using this skill, life will no longer be something that happens to you. Life will become something you see, shape, and embrace, even when the storm is raging. What if the difference between a life of constant struggle and a life filled with hope and opportunities is not what happens to you, but how you choose to see it? The truth is, the way you interpret events shapes everything: your emotions, your actions, and ultimately, the results you get. A small shift in perspective can turn a failure into a lesson, a setback into a stepping stone, and a problem into an opening. Most people underestimate the power of their own mind. They allow circumstances to dictate their mood, their confidence, and even their sense of purpose. But perspective is not a random gift. It is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned and refined. Every day, the mind automatically filters experiences through a lens shaped by habits, past experiences, and the emotions that dominate it. If fear dominates, every event looks threatening. If doubt dominates, every opportunity seems risky. If frustration dominates, even small inconveniences feel unbearable. This is why so many people feel trapped, powerless, or stuck. Not because life is cruel, but because the mind has not been trained to notice the hidden potential in every moment. Yet, the good news is that the lens can be changed. The way you view life is not fixed. You can train your mind to look for solutions instead of obstacles, for lessons instead of losses, for hope instead of despair. One of the most effective ways to start reshaping your perspective is to understand the automatic nature of thoughts. The human brain is designed to think quickly, to react, and to prioritize what it considers urgent or dangerous. That means negative thoughts arrive faster and feel more real than positive ones. But just because they arrive first doesn't mean they are the truth. The mind has a remarkable capacity to re-evaluate situations, to weigh evidence, and to choose a different interpretation. Learning to consciously choose the positive side of reality is like learning to steer a car. At first, it feels awkward, even impossible, because you are so used to going wherever the autopilot takes you. But with practice, it becomes natural. Another key element in changing perspective is focusing on what is within your control. Many people expend most of their energy worrying about things they cannot change. The weather, other people's actions, past mistakes, these things are outside your influence. But your mind, your choices, and your reactions are always within your control. When you shift your attention to what you can influence, the world no longer feels overwhelming. Problems shrink, opportunities grow, and a sense of calm replaces anxiety. This is not just philosophical advice, it is rooted in human psychology. People who focus on control over their own actions feel more confident, more capable, and more resilient. Their brains literally release chemicals associated with calmness and motivation. The third principle to rewire your perspective is gratitude, but not in a shallow way. Deep gratitude is not just about noticing good things when life is easy. It is about actively looking for something positive in every circumstance, even the ones that challenge or frustrate you. Gratitude rewires the brain to focus on abundance instead of lack, on possibility instead of limitation. When you train your mind to ask, "What is good in this situation?" or "What can I learn here?" it opens doors to insights that would otherwise remain hidden. The small act of identifying even one positive aspect of a difficult situation has a ripple effect. It strengthens your mind. Perspective also thrives on curiosity. A curious mind does not judge instantly. It observes, questions, and explores. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," a curious mind asks, "What can this teach me?" or "What opportunity might be hidden here?" Curiosity shifts your energy from fear to exploration, from doubt to possibility. People who cultivate curiosity in their lives experience challenges not as threats, but as puzzles waiting to be solved. Their brains start creating new connections, seeking solutions, and noticing opportunities that others overlook. Curiosity makes the mind more flexible, adaptive, and creative, all qualities that lead to a more positive outlook on life. Reframing is another powerful tool. When an event feels overwhelming or unfair, the first instinct is to see it as a threat or a loss. But reframing asks you to look at the same situation differently. What if that setback is actually preparation? What if the criticism is actually guidance? What if this obstacle is redirecting you toward something better? Reframing is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It is about giving your mind a new angle, a way to extract value, growth, and meaning from the challenges you face. And when this becomes a habit, your brain stops responding with panic or frustration. It starts responding with clarity and calm. Finally, perspective grows through consistent practice. You cannot change your mental habits overnight. Just as you cannot become physically strong after a single workout, you cannot become mentally resilient after a single attempt at optimism. But daily practice compounds. Every time you consciously look for the good, ask the right questions, or pause before reacting, you are building mental strength. Over time, your default response shifts. Your mind starts seeing light where others see darkness, possibility where others see dead ends, and solutions where others see problems. This is the power of training the mind, the ability to shape your reality, not by changing the world, but by changing the way you see it. If you apply these principles, life stops feeling like a series of random events and begins to feel like a canvas of opportunities. Challenges become lessons. Mistakes become teachers. Difficult people become mirrors of your own growth. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your world transforms. You no longer wait for circumstances to improve. Your mind creates improvement first. You begin to see that life is not something that happens to you, but something you interpret, shape, and embrace. The moment you realize this, the path to resilience, happiness, and achievement becomes clear. And as you continue watching this video, the techniques and insights coming next will show exactly how to put these principles into practice, moment by moment, thought by thought. By the end, you will understand how to train your mind to automatically notice the good and how this simple yet profound shift can change your entire experience of life. Have you noticed how easy it is to get lost in the things that go wrong? How quickly the mind latches onto every inconvenience, every mistake, every disappointment? Most people don't even realize it is happening. They assume that their feelings and reactions are simply life happening to them. But in truth, the mind is constantly filtering reality, deciding what deserves attention and what doesn't. When this filter is untrained, it tends to favor the negative. Small setbacks feel enormous, mistakes feel catastrophic, and disappointments feel permanent. This is why people often feel stuck, drained, or defeated. Their mind has been conditioned to focus on the shadows instead of the light. Breaking free from this pattern requires deliberate effort. It requires consciously deciding to see beyond the surface, to look deeper, and to actively seek the positive aspects of every situation. This is not denial. It is not pretending everything is perfect. It is the art of finding opportunity, meaning, and growth in circumstances that seem ordinary or even unpleasant. When the mind starts noticing the good first, the world transforms. Ordinary moments become meaningful, challenges become lessons, and problems become doors. But this transformation does not happen automatically. It begins with awareness and grows through consistent practice. One of the most powerful tools to cultivate this perspective is called mental reframing. Every event can be interpreted in countless ways. A lost job can feel like failure, or it can be a chance to find work that aligns more with your purpose. A conflict with someone can feel like rejection, or it can reveal areas for personal growth. A sudden change can feel like chaos, or it can open the door to new possibilities. Reframing allows you to step back and ask, how else can I see this? Instead of reacting impulsively, the mind searches for meaning and value, and in that search, the seeds of resilience are planted. Another principle that dramatically shifts perception is focusing on solutions rather than problems. Most people dwell on what went wrong, replaying mistakes over and over in their minds. This creates stress, anxiety, and a sense of helplessness. But when the mind shifts to asking, what can I do next? Or how can I improve this? Energy changes from fear to action. This simple pivot rewires the brain. The focus moves from what is lacking to what is possible. Over time, solution-oriented thinking becomes habitual. You begin to automatically notice opportunities, resources, and paths forward that were invisible before. Life starts feeling less like a series of obstacles and more like a field of potential. The way the mind reacts is also shaped by how it processes meaning. Humans are naturally wired to search for purpose. When an event feels meaningless, it triggers stress, frustration, and hopelessness. But even small adjustments in interpretation can provide profound relief. For example, instead of seeing a difficult task as a punishment, it can be reframed as a chance to prove your strength. Instead of seeing criticism as an attack, it can be viewed as feedback that helps you grow. The mind is not limited to the first interpretation it encounters. It can be trained to notice meaning, even when circumstances feel chaotic or unfair. Gratitude plays a unique role in this process. It is not a superficial act of saying thank you for what is easy or pleasant. Deep gratitude is the ability to recognize value in circumstances that challenge you. It trains the mind to notice hidden blessings. For instance, being stuck in traffic can be frustrating, but it can also be an opportunity to think, reflect, or plan. A disagreement with a friend can feel painful, but it can also teach empathy and patience. Every moment contains elements worth acknowledging, if the mind is willing to search for them. Practicing this habit regularly strengthens mental pathways that favor optimism, resilience, and calmness. Curiosity enhances this effect even further. A curious mind asks questions instead of immediately judging. It explores possibilities instead of retreating in fear. When faced with difficulty, curiosity allows you to ask, what can this teach me? Or, what opportunity might be hidden here? This small shift opens the brain to new connections, creativity, and problem-solving. It replaces frustration with exploration, complaint with discovery, and helplessness with empowerment. Over time, curiosity becomes a lens through which life is viewed, one that naturally gravitates toward growth, learning, and positivity. Another essential component is learning to manage inner dialogue. Most people allow their thoughts to dictate their reality without questioning them. Negative self-talk, assumptions, and predictions of failure shape perception and behavior. But the mind is not powerless. By observing thoughts instead of automatically believing them, you gain control. A thought such as, "This is too hard," can be noticed, acknowledged, and reframed as, "This is challenging, and I am capable of handling it." This simple practice gradually transforms the mind's default response to adversity. Consistency is the final key. Perspective does not shift instantly. It grows gradually as the mind practices noticing the positive, seeking solutions, finding meaning, and remaining curious. Each moment of conscious choice strengthens neural pathways that favor optimism, resilience, and adaptability. Eventually, the mind no longer defaults to negativity. Instead, it naturally seeks the good first. Challenges no longer feel insurmountable. Disappointment no longer feels permanent. Life begins to feel more like a canvas to shape than a burden to endure. The people who succeed in life, who find joy despite hardships, do not have perfect circumstances. They do not escape difficulty. What they do have is a trained mind, a mind that naturally searches for the positive, finds opportunity in every situation, and transforms obstacles into growth. They understand a fundamental truth: life itself is neutral. It is neither good nor bad. What matters is how the mind interprets it. That interpretation determines emotions, actions, and ultimately the outcomes you experience. By practicing these principles, you gain freedom from being at the mercy of events. You no longer react unconsciously to life. Instead, you respond with clarity, intention, and perspective. Each difficulty becomes a lesson. Each setback becomes an opening. Each challenge becomes a test of resilience. And as this practice strengthens, your mind starts to instinctively notice opportunities, beauty, and growth where others see only chaos, disappointment, and struggle. This is not a promise of an easy life. Life will continue to challenge you, surprise you, and sometimes test you beyond comfort. But the way you perceive those experiences will determine whether they break you or make you stronger. Train your mind to see the good first. Notice the lessons, the opportunities, and the hidden blessings. Let curiosity guide your interpretation. Practice gratitude with depth. Seek solutions before dwelling on problems. And over time, you will discover that life is not something that happens to you. It is something you interpret, shape, and embrace. Have you ever noticed that the way people experience life is not determined by luck, talent, or circumstance, but by the mental habits they cultivate daily? The truth is, the mind shapes reality more than anything else. If the mind constantly focuses on what is wrong, life appears heavy, unfair, and exhausting. But if the mind is trained to see potential, value, and meaning, life begins to feel lighter, fuller, and more purposeful. This is the hidden power that most people never discover. It is not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It is about intentionally choosing to see the lessons and opportunities that exist in every moment, no matter how difficult it seems. One of the most profound ways to train the mind is to develop the habit of intentional focus. Every day, countless thoughts compete for attention, but the ones we consistently dwell on shape our emotions and actions. If the focus is on fear, failure, or scarcity, the mind grows anxious and limited. If the focus is on possibility, growth, and solutions, the mind becomes resilient and resourceful. The key is deliberate attention, noticing where energy is spent and redirecting it toward what empowers, inspires, and motivates. This practice may feel unusual at first, but it strengthens the mental pathways that allow the mind to automatically notice positive aspects in all situations. Another essential principle is learning to embrace challenges rather than avoiding them. Most people see difficulty as something to escape, a signal that life is unfair or a reason to give up. But challenges are not enemies. They are teachers disguised in tough circumstances. Every struggle carries insight, skill, or understanding that cannot be gained any other way. The mind that learns to look for value in obstacles becomes unstoppable. Each problem becomes a stepping stone, each disappointment becomes a lesson, and each failure becomes a tool for growth. This perspective transforms not only how life is experienced, but how it is acted upon.